Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to the first of our Commissioners' Conversations panels here at actual CMC in the real world, where we're not just wearing our pyjamas. Obviously, online lot, you are trumping us on that. My name is Tiernan Douieb. I'm going to be your moderator for this. I am a comedian and writer, because why have the absolute insecurity of one completely, awful job when you can have the anxiety of two? So, Before we get started, I've got to do the very important bit, which is to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors for this session are Carrot, who, as you know, are the creators of Sarah and Duck. Whack, so it is involuntary. You can't not do that. If you don't do that, there is something wrong with you. And they are also the, it says in my notes, current producers of Peppa Pig, which I think is a bit ominous. They are the producers of Peppa Pig. Obviously, Queen Pig decides where she goes. You cannot put a foot wrong. But they are the producers of Peppa Pig. And this event relies on sponsorship. It relies on the support of our sponsors to actually happen. So we are very, very grateful to Carrot for helping us run this session. Listen, this is one of the events that everyone wants to come to. We have got the preschool commissioners. We've got 5 absolutely fantastic commissioners for the 0 to 6 range. And so in this session, we're going to be learning about their taste, their hit shows, very importantly, what on earth they're looking for. And also, for me, as the parent of a 4-year-old, what songs I'm going to have on repeat in the car for the rest of my life. So it's going to be very exciting. Right. Shall we welcome them to the stage? Please, can we give them a huge, warm round of applause to our commissioners? Now, before I go through and introduce them individually, each of our panellists are going to take to the lectern over there, and they are going to give us a little sort of summary of what their businesses are currently doing, what their content is, and they are going to very strictly keep to 4 to 5 minutes. Otherwise, I don't know, we haven't worked out what we'll do if they don't, but I'm very happy to jeopardise my chances of pitching anything to them in the future if they do. So, first up, please can we give a big round of applause to Louise Bucknell, GM and VP Kids and Family of Paramount. You go for it.
There we go, missed the cue already. So firstly, Milkshake, the preschool free-to-air 2 to 5 targeted block on Channel 5. We're the only PSB with kids content every morning, and we bring the sunshine every day, celebrating and reflecting kids and their families in the UK. And in September, we're 25 years old. We aim to be fun, adventurous, and want to create that lasting memory for kids with our content. We've got an amazing range of British-produced animation, live action and short form, from huge global franchises to UK originations that follow the Early Years Foundation framework. And 60% of our productions are regional. And over the last few years, we've been hugely supported by the BFI Young Audiences Content Fund, with award-winning shows like The World According to Grandpa, which is on its 2nd season from Saffron Cherry, Milo, all about the amazing jobs you want to do when you grow up, from Fourth Wall, Odo, the lovely little owl with big dreams, from 16 South, Go Green with the Grimways, which features the first preschooler influencer family, and our first mixed media drama about friendship and dealing with emotions in Mimi's World. And this is alongside things like Peppa Pig, Pip and Posy, that we do a co-pro with Sky, Thomas and Friends, Fireman Sam, and the wonderful Ukrainian-produced Brave Bunnies from Glowberry. And on top of that, we've got a 9-strong presenting team, and of course, Milkshake Monkey in the studio. And coming up this year, we've got a brand new crafting show, Pop Paper City, Mix Mups, our landmark series that is focused on authentic disability representation, and announcing today a brand new pop-up restaurant format called Cooking with the Gills with JB Gill, a beautiful stop-frame animation, Tweedy and Fluff from Second Home Productions, all about nurturing a pet fluff. Everyone needs a fluff in their life. Oggy Oggy from Zillam, a returning show of Show Me How, and Meet the Experts from Boom Kids, which is all about kids' amazing passions from all around the UK. And now to Nick Jr., the global super brand for kids 4 to 7. It features massive shows such as Paw Patrol, Baby Shark, Blue's Clues, and Blaze. And we supplement that with content and acquisitions from the UK, such as the incredible Adventures of Paddington from Studio Canal, Anna and Friends from Super Rights, and Kangaroo Beach from Cheeky Little, because we want to portray that every day is an adventure. And our core objective on Nick is to grow with kids from nappies to baggy jeans. And we're very much kids first, but we want to create those co-viewing opportunities as well. And our core objective is larger-than-life stories and experience that magnify the best and the mess of being a kid, with broad, funny, and relatable, energetic content, just like kids themselves. And we want to make the world a more playful place. So franchises are absolutely key to this strategy, and it's no bigger than Paw Patrol. And next year, Paw Patrol is 10 years old. There's a new series, a theatrical, and a spin-off series based on our favourite bulldog, Rubble. And we mustn't forget Dora, our heroine, and she will return next year for a new series as well. And a couple of weeks ago, we launched Paramount Plus, and this gives us the unique trio of free-to-air, pay, and SVOD, where we can deliver fantastic content to the audience. If you want to get in touch with us, we've got a couple of emails there of how you can send your pitches to us. But it gives me great pleasure to say, roll VT to look at our content.
Oh, can we play a game, please? What game should we play today? Something really great.
Get ready, everyone. Things are about to take a turn for the silly.
These new suits are awesome.
You all look brilliant.
This way. It's Mimi's magic time, Benji. Show me how. I can see you. I see a dinosaur.
That's not for you.
Adventure awaits, amigos. Now that's what I'm talking about. Theo is different from the rest of us.
We're all different, aren't we?
Sometimes you learn the best lessons in the most unusual ways.
You can do it, Paddington.
We've gone green.
You learn something new every day.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Louise. Next up, please, can we give a big welcome to Sean Henry, Vice President of Content Strategy and Acquisitions, Kids EMA EA at Warner Brothers and Discovery.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming today. I'm Sean. I'm here to tell you about Cartoonito, which is Warner Brothers Discovery's global preschool brand that originated right here in the UK. So there are three things I want you all to remember from today. One, we are increasing our investment in preschool content in our region, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Number two, 50% of our upcoming pipeline over the next year will be originals from independent studios in our region, and we have slots open in 24, 25, and onwards. So if you have any preschool ideas in development, anything you're ready to pitch, we would love to hear it. You can get in touch with us through that very catchy email address up there. Please take a photo, don't try and remember it. But yeah, we'd love to hear from all of you. Number three, we can offer your characters, your stories, distribution across the globe. So Cartoonito exists as a channel in the UK and in Italy, where we have a free-to-air channel. But it's been a hub on our HBO Max streaming service for the last year, and that's present in 21 European markets at the moment. We'll be rolling out the Cartoonito brand across all of our other networks over the next 12 months. And last year, those reached 160 million households across our region. HBO Max has 76 million global subscribers, so we can take your local stories and we can introduce them to a global audience. So let me tell you a bit more about Cartoonito, the brand. It's a place where we're going to be bringing our world-famous and much-loved IP to a preschool audience for the first time. So later this year, in October, we'll be premiering Batwheels. Batwheels is a show that follows Bam, the Batmobile, and his host of flying and driving friends as they fight crime on the streets of Gotham. it's the first time that we will be introducing Batman and a host of DC superheroes to a preschool audience, and we're really excited to do this. Also coming later this year is Bugs Bunny Builders. So this is a show about the cast of Looney Tunes, so Bugs, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Tweety. And it sees them help their fellow citizens of Looneyburg with a host of crazy building projects. It's really exciting, really fun, silly show, and we can't wait to premiere it. Next year, we'll be able to show you more of Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Pups, which is really, really cute, and we'll also have Tom and Jerry time to share with you later in the year. So alongside those owned originals, like I said, we have a host of original IP from independent studios in our European markets coming to the platform this year. We think it's essential that kids are seeing stories that are relatable and recognisable and characters they can aspire to be like. And that's why we're committed to investing in content from our region. So Mush Mush and the Mushables is a show that's been a pillar of our schedules for the last couple of years. It comes from La Cabane in France and Thursday in Belgium, and we're delighted to have greenlit a second season that will be coming to Cartoonita later this year. We also have 5 brand new originals from independent studios that will premiere over the next 12 months. Interstellar Ella is a show from Fabrique Fantastique studio in Belgium, distributed by Aardman. It's about Ella Ryder and her family and friends and their adventures in space. Not only is it a visually beautiful show and it's really exciting, but actually it's a really nice opportunity to pique kids' interest about the science behind the solar system and space. So we're looking forward to launching that. We also have coming later this year Toad and Friends from Ho Ho Entertainment here in the UK. This is based on the Wind and Willow stories, so it's something that we think will be really recognisable to parents and their kids. And we'll be able to tell you more about some of our upcoming shows and show you more in due course, but we'll have Silly Sundays coming from Cartoon Saloon in Ireland, Lou and the Bally Bunch from 9 Story, and Spookies from Walk and Lenker in Berlin as well, coming in the next year. So like I said, we've got slots to fill on our future pipelines. We'd love to hear from you. We can take your local stories, IP, and characters, and we can present that to a global audience. So when you think of Cartoonito, think of a place where these world-famous heritage characters meet these brand new ideas, and think that we can help you reach a global audience. And let's roll VT.
Cartoonito. Cartoonito. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Welcome everyone. It's time to play and have some fun. Yeah, you're all invited. And we're so excited. Woohoo! It's the place to start your day. With a brand new name to say. Start off with cartoon. Then Toad makes it Cartoonito. Look at all these shows. Say hello to friends you know. Sing and dance and play. Cartoonito every day. We love you for being you. And the silly things you do. Let's giggle, deagle, and grow. Cartoonito. Let's play and have some fun.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Sean. And there'll be an hour later where you can scribe that email address onto a scroll to take home with you. Please, next, can we give a big welcome to the Head of Commissioning and Acquisitions for CBeebies, Kate Morton.
Morning, everyone. So, what is CBeebies? I know you all know, but we are the preeminent preschool brand in the UK. And we're really happy that we're also the #1 linear channel in the UK, with an average weekly reach of 32% 0 to 6-year-olds in 22 to date, and just under 34% in our last financial year. So really, really proud that we're reaching such a large proportion of preschoolers in the UK. And we also have, obviously, our wonderful iPlayer. And so far, in this year, we've had an average of 29.8 million weekly requests on the CBeebies iPlayer. So that's up on the last year, and that's over 169 million hours of content watched in the last year. So
we're tremendous. We have such an amazing amount of content, and we are here, and we love being here. We love coming to Sheffield, and we love meeting with you all. So thank you for that. And we're really working on building our offering on iPlayer and on CBeebies, so that our audience can discover, self-curate, and really watch content where they want to and whenever they want to. And who's CBeebies for? Well, CBeebies is for all of us, for everyone, right across Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And reflecting the diverse and amazingly engaging audience is really a key focus for us. And we track that very closely. And in terms of our weekly average reach for people who of minority ethnic backgrounds, we got 31.5% in the last year. So again, really, really strong stats. But we're keeping a very close track on that because we're really highly engaged in ensuring that our content both represents the richness of cultures and backgrounds and diversity that makes the UK special. And in order to do that, we have to ensure that our content makers, all of you, hopefully, engage in dialogue with our commissioners early on, so that we actually get, right from the start, the representation and portrayal both on and off screen in terms of female representation, ethnicity, and disability. I think when we're looking at the portrayal both on and off screen, we track this obviously with the Diamond data, and we're really pleased that we are leading the way on on-screen representation. We're ahead of all other broadcasters from BBC Children's. And we're really actively taking measures to address off-screen representation as well. And so we've got a 20% production team target, which has to be from underrepresented groups. So we work with all our commissions so that we can support that and get these underrepresented groups of disability, ethnicity, and social economic diversity as well. And that 20% production team targets are across all commissions. And so we've also supersized our C&E, so that's Children's in Education, Diversity Fund. So it's now at £300,000. And we use that to support development opportunities for underrepresented off-screen talent, whether that's individuals joining the industry at entry level, but also mid-career progressions, and we're actually supported over 30 placements in the last year. So placements on titles such as Jojo and Gran Gran, Toddler Club, and Love Monster, just a few. So thinking about our shows, what is a CBeebies show? Well, they're vastly different because we've got such a broad range of content because we have to serve all our audiences, from our littlest 0 to 3s, our core 4 to 6s, and also important bridge audience 5 to 7s. And we want to create thematic journeys that really engage with them as they grow. So we've got biggest animation shows like Hey Duggee, Bluey, Jojo and Gran Gran, Bing, and they bring hilarity, warmth, and the fun of family life in all its forms. And you'll also see in our sizzle the first look at our newest, silliest superhero, Super Tato. We've also announced today a few commissions, including your ultimate 5 minutes a day, Roots and Fruits, from Plum Films in Edinburgh, which is a zany and slightly surreal fruit and vegetable cabaret entertainment show, because we all needed one of those. And that's packed with comedy, catchy tunes, and also fun facts all about fruit and vegetables. Plus, we've also got Vida the Vet, which is a sweet animation from Spin Master. And Vida is a 10-year-old vet who tends to the woodland creatures around her home. And this is just a tiny part of our overall strategy to bring more of what children love. And so far, at the moment, the most popular genre for 0 to 12s in the UK is animation. So this is a real focus, and particularly we're wanting to support and bring in more UK animation, as you know. We've also got lots of learning through play. We've got award-winning shows like Number Blocks and Alpha Blocks, imaginative shows like Big Cook, Little Cook, and Andy's Adventures, which also we've got a new series of Andy's Global Adventures currently in production. And we're also very proud of our preschool dramas and comedies, like Molly and Mac and Biff and Chip. And no other broadcaster really invests in this way for this kind of content for this age group. And I'm really looking forward to a new commission, Olga Topolga, from the iconic writer, British writer Michael Bond. Fantastic books about the most amazing little guinea pig. And that's produced by Mara Media in Glasgow, and that's launching on CBeebies and iPlayer at the end of the year. We've also got huge diversity across the factual genre. So from shows like award-winning Ranger Hamza's Let's Go for a Walk, and his brand new series, which is in production, Ranger Hamza's EcoQuest, which inspires preschoolers to just get outside and enjoy the wonders of our environment and find out what they can discover. And then we've also got our new STEM game show, Get Set Galactic. Plus, our upcoming newest and boldest, CBeebies Prom, Ocean Adventure, which is an immersive live family event featuring a full symphony orchestra and CBeebies performers and bespoke animation. So that happens the end of this month, and it's broadcast on CBeebies and also iPlayer on the 10th of September, the last night of the proms. It's much more exciting than that. And finally, we've got our CBeebies production of As You Like It at Shakespeare's Globe, which is happening this August, and it's going to be broadcast next Easter on the channel and iPlayer. So you can see there's no single blueprint for a typical CBeebies show. There's no such thing, because we are here to reflect and engage with you all, to have all your best stories and to tell them all. And we're really proud to have the depth, the variety, the diversity, and the inclusion that we offer. Thank you. Roll VT.
Welcome to the Toddler Club.
Climb under tables and tickle some feet. We share lots of giggles each time that we eat.
Potato ski! Brilliant, thank you very much, Kate. And next up, please, can we give a big warm welcome to VP of Content and Operations at WildBrain Spark, Matt Rennie.
Right, good morning, thank you. WildBrain Spark, we are the digital division of Canadian 360 kids and family business WildBrain. We're predominantly based on YouTube, so we're a little different from most of your normal commissioners. And so we're pretty much squarely on YouTube, although we do have teams that get us content onto other AVOD platforms. In terms of scale, we do about just short of 40 billion views a year. That translates down to about 17 billion minutes of content watched on our network every month. In fact, we launched about 6 years ago, and earlier this year, we just passed the mark of 1 trillion minutes watched on our network of kids and family content. We are UK-based, but globally focused. We've got an audience watching from 247 countries in 40 different languages across the network. We like to think of ourselves as an IP development and growth engine. We grow brands for our audience on YouTube, our mass audience on YouTube, but also to spin up into the WildBrain 360 machine. We're a broad-based kids and family network, going through from preschool right through to teen. We are particularly strong in the preschool area. We do some productions in-house, so we have a production team that we commission from, but we work with lots of third parties, and so we're really interested in the content that you have. We invest, co-produce, acquire, and commission content from third parties. I mean, if I talk about some of the brand-defining shows that we've got, Caillou and Teletubbies are probably the biggest. heritage brands, huge catalogues, but all with new digital-first content at the heart of their strategy. Ellie Sparkles is a live-action sitcom, preschool sitcom. We produced through a JV with a production outfit in New York. Strawberry Shortcake, a massive 360 priority for us. And then others in the network, such as Jungle Beat, which is a new partnership we have with Sunrise Studios out of South Africa, and Sunny Bunnies, with whom we've just commissioned a new music spin-off show. I thought I'd just talk, because we are probably the slightly odd one on the panel in terms of a YouTube commissioner, I'd just talk about some of the differences of the platform. As I said, we're primarily based on YouTube, and it is different. We have mass audiences, but frankly, the dollar earned to minute viewed ratio is much lower than traditional platforms, so we have to be quite creative about how we can structure deals, not in terms of the structure, but also the time frame as well. We have no slots. So it was just great, because in effect, our inventory is infinite, but it's also a bit of a challenge, because I can't deliver a show to a particular slot and say, I know I'm going to have an audience there. So we have to get quite creative in how we work with Discovery. We are bound by the algorithm, which we think we know pretty well. We've been working with it for 6 years, so we understand most of how it works. They still won't tell us properly. But Discovery is definitely a challenge, and so you have to think about that. All of the content that we work with, not all of the content, generally the content that works best on our platform is produced specifically for our platform. And so that is really thinking about discovery and retention in mind. And in fact, we believe that it's not just changing for the YouTube platform, but the audience is so big there that the way kids are consuming on that platform is fundamentally changing the way kids consume content in 2022. So I'm going to leave it there and look forward to your questions. And if we could just roll our reel. Thank you.
Wild Brain! Let your imagination run wild!
Ooh, fancy.
Run wild. Wild Brain.
Thank you very much, Matt. And now, last but definitely not least, commissioning editor of Sky Kids, Estelle Hughes.
Thank you very much. Sky Kids is a microcosm of what we call Big Sky at work. It's a range of genres, and it's focus on entertainment, broad appeal, and big brands. But we are unique in the Sky portfolio because we're entirely on demand. We're not a channel ourselves, but the Sky Kids platform offers 8 premium kids live channels from Warner Media, Paramount, and Baby TV. We supplement the Sky Kids offering by acquiring on-demand programming, and our policy there is to be always on, always up. This means that at any one time, there can be around 10,000 episodes of kids' content available through the Sky platform. So when we're commissioning for Sky Kids, we're looking for content that complements rather than competes with our partner channels. We need to offer the Sky Kids viewers, through our commissions, options and alternatives to those 10,000 episodes that are already there. So what that tends to mean is an emphasis on UK kids seeing their own lives and their interests reflected up on screen. We commission most genres for kids aged up to 10, and as a team led by Lucy Murphy, Director of Kids Content, we all work across all age groups. My colleague Ian France is doing tomorrow's panel talking about how we commission for older content as well. And in fact, a lot of the shows that we'll talk about and that you'll see on our reel are shows that Ian has exec'd as well. When commissioning for preschool, we go up to 7 years. And like Kate was saying, find a lot of success with this bridging age group of 4 to 7s. That way, where the content is fun and engaging for the 7-year-olds and the older kids, but nothing problematic or unsuitable for the younger ones and for younger siblings that would be co-viewing. It's also why we stick to a mission statement of loved by kids, trusted by parents. And we use that dual lens of kids and parents to assess anything for potential commission. It's also why we've got the family settings option on the Sky user face, so that parents don't need to worry what their kids are watching. Not that there's anything you should worry about. When evaluating projects, like everyone else on this panel, I'm sure, we receive a lot of content and submissions from all over the world. And we do usually favour known IP. It's what gives the audience the best chance of finding the content. So, for example, Pip and Posy, as Louise said, a co-production with Milkshake and Magic Light, are based on Axel Scheffler's books. Very Small Creatures, another of our strong preschool shows, is a spin-off from the Morph series. And Mia's Magic Playground, another example, is a spin-off from the YouTube series Little Baby Bum. By known IP, it's not just books and spin-offs. It can be anything. You know, we talk to gamers, we look at games, and we do commission some games as well. Influencers, user-generated content. There's all sorts of ways in which we classify something as known IP. Having said that, known IP is not always necessary, especially in live-action scripted. We've currently got a hopefully long-form, multi-episode, long-running live-action comedy drama in development, as well as a half-hour single special for World Book Day. Both of those have been through development deals, and we find that these development deals and half-hour specials are a particularly useful way of us finding content that works, but also developing content and setting up productions that are particularly strong on diversity and inclusion, both on screen and in the production. And nurturing and developing new talent is particularly important for Sky Kids. Overall, our tone is fun, glossy, high quality and modern, diverse, nourishing, and really needs to stand out on a very busy platform. Commissioned shows that, defining commission shows at the moment, I'd say are Pip and Posy, Morph, Very Small Creatures, some Paw Patrol shorts, The Makery, Dream Flight, and The Brilliant World of Tom Gates, which again is one of those bridging shows that I just mentioned, really good for a very wide age group, as is anything with the fabulous MC Grammer in and Kids Bop. Looking ahead, we are pretty much fully commissioned for 23 and 24, having already greenlit more seasons and spin-offs from several of our key shows. But there are 3 series that we'll be looking for. A physical movement or fitness show, a series that focus on wildlife, animals, and natural history, both in both those cases looking for interesting formats to present those in, and an animated comedy or action-adventure comedy for 2024 as well. Best way to pitch, oh, it's not on there, sorry, is the email address skykids@sky.uk with a brief overview, maybe some visuals if possible, or a mood board if not. And for us, if that overview of the show is important, and it'd be great to then start talking to you about content. And there's 3 really important things that we are thinking about all the time. One is, why will kids watch it? The second is, how are they going to find it? What can be done to improve that discoverability? And the third is specifically, why Sky Kids? There's a lot of people here and a lot of places for kids to find their content. So why specifically, bearing in mind that we're trying to complement and not compete with our partner channels, why is it Sky Kids that this is a good commission for? So, in the words of Louise, roll VT.
Now it's time to paint our planet. But what colour do we pick? I mean, there's so many to choose from.
Exploring is tiring. Time for bed. To dream of the things they saw today. And more adventures far away.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, boys. Hello, Mrs. Finkel.
Anyone hungry?
Not really, Mum. Thanks anyway.
Life gets too real. Here's the deal. I just chill.
Okay.
And when I feel queasy, you should see me. I take it easy.
And then?
And if I'm feeling sad, mad, or bad, I might call my friend, mum, gran, or my dad, cause they understand. Yeah, they hold my hand.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Estelle. That Sleepy Stories clip was dangerous at this time in the morning. What an exciting range of content we've got coming up for the UK's youngest audiences. Obviously, the big question we're going to start with is the one that this Children's Media Conference is all about. It's an incredibly broad question, but we have had it says on the script here, a funny couple of years, an exhausting couple of years. What is next? Louise, obviously, 10 years of Paw Patrol. Next is a gritty reboot where they all say, we're too old for this. But what's next? What do young audiences need?
I think sort of a focus on themselves, sort of mindfulness and well-being is something that we're seeing a lot of content that's being pitched to us. Diversity and inclusion, I know we all say this, but making sure that we're representing that audience and being authentic about it, that's really important for all the content that we're making going forward. And I think the shared viewing with parents and carers and kids is also very important. And I think, as we saw yesterday from the most amazing change maker, oh my God, sort of puts us all to shame, things about the environment and sustainability, these are things that we should really be thinking about for kids particularly. We know they love animals as well, so that's not just learning about animals, but the sort of care and nurture of animals and pets as well. I think they're the kind of things that we're seeing are trends of what kids are really interested in at the moment.
And Sean, similar sort of focus?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, we have to recognise, and we recognise as a team, that we are here to entertain. I mean, we see it as our job to put smiles on kids' faces, make kids laugh. But with Cartoonito and the Cartoonito brand, we're trying to encourage at the same time more human-centric values. So if we can encourage kids to be kind and compassionate and empathetic to each other, I think that's really, really important right now. As I said before, making sure that kids are seeing recognisable, relatable stories and characters on screen is essential. Our output needs to reflect the cultural diversity of our entire region. For us, that's Europe, Middle East and Africa. So I think our investment in content from studios across our region is really important.
Fantastic. And Kate, obviously we've had well-being, and I mean, I think it's interesting as well, laughter, you say separately, but a very important part of well-being as well is sort of entertaining, keeping kids very happy. And sort of what's the focus of CBeebies? What do you think audiences need next?
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely all the things that Louise and Sean have said. But I also think it's about the balance of making certain that you've got the child at the centre of the stories. That's one of the things that I think CBeebies does particularly well, is actually putting, whether it's in a factual with Ranger Hamza, with what can you do when you go for a walk along the beach? And the amazing thing with that show is that it's not scripted. They take the children, and if they see something, that's where the programme goes, because we have absolutely, it's a child-first experience. And I think that's one of the things that working with different indies across the UK, we get the ability to really tap into brilliant storytellers. And I think that's what we're really, really keen on. So whether it's, you know, a fantastic new sitcom, which we're in production and development at the moment, again, for preschoolers, or whether it's mindfulness, as Louise says, or, you know, more reflective animal shows, and lots of music. I think we need to have music in everything. I personally don't think we've got enough music in our lives, and I think it's one of the things that I'm really, really keen to put at the forefront in all the shows.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and Matt, obviously with sort of digital platform, there are other things you need to take into consideration as what sort of audiences need.
It's what do they need or what are they going to get, right? So we're a digital business focused on YouTube, but we feel like we have broadcast sensibilities. We're a traditional media business by background, and Ben kind of alluded to it quite a lot last night, but YouTube being an open platform, anyone can get on there and produce anything. Now, we've seen some incredible people like Anishwar who's creating content and is absolutely fantastic. There are lots of people out there who aren't that incredible, right? And so I think we kind of sit between that bound. We see what's going on. We see the content that is resonating with young audiences online, not all good. And you need to take from that some of the hints and tips that they're using to engage audiences, the pace, the subject matters, all sorts of things. And so, we try and blend that a little bit. And so with one arm in there, but trying to bring the kind of broadcast sensibilities and the great content that we know will enrich and engage and inspire the kids that we produce it for.
And Estelle, obviously, as you mentioned, you've got all this content online as well. Is that a kind of similar focus for you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with, obviously, in terms of themes and content, I think we're all probably pretty much on the same page. I guess what we're also bearing in mind at Sky is that we're also a tech company. And I think Sky Glass recently has been a game changer, really, and the sort of some of the iterations from that, such as Sky Live, where different homes will be watching, interacting, gaming together. So I think there's ways that we'll be looking forward to embracing that new tech as well as the content, like everyone else.
And what are the... we've obviously seen a bit of all your reels, and we've seen quite a lot of what's coming up. I wondered what you think the sort of shows are that define your define your channel, and why you think that they work, and particularly have worked over the last couple of years. Should we start with... Let's start with Sean.
Sure. As I said, I mean, I think we're very fortunate as a company to have some really great IP in our library. To be honest, it's kind of crazy that we haven't ever done a Batman preschool show or a Looney Tunes preschool show or Scooby-Doo. So I think that's great, and that's going to really define the channel and the brand globally. But we, as a team, our remit, my team's remit, is building original IP across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we're hoping some of these shows I talked to that we've greenlit, and we've got first seasons coming, we're hoping that we can build those with a second and third season over the coming years, and we can grow those to be global hits as well.
What are the sort of challenges in making it global? What's the key for you in making sure that...
Well, I think actually it's a good thing. My team's based in London, but we have editorial teams on the ground throughout our whole region, so Paris, Rome, Istanbul, etc. So there's a lot of voices and a lot of opinions to hear, but it's important to have that diversity of opinion when we're commissioning and making choices. If it's Sean from Kent making all our commissioning choices, we won't have a very interesting slate. So it's a challenge. It's a lot of opinions and a lot of voices to hear, but it's a really integral part of the process. So yeah, we're happy with the way we work.
That's right. I think you've put Sean from Kent down there. But Estelle, what about you? What's the kind of content that defines Sky Kids, and why would you say that that's kind of important?
I think, I mean, obviously we showed a lot of them in the reel here. When we're when we're commissioning and trying to find content that is different to what is already available, sort of through the platform, through the partner channels. As I said, it's about finding stuff that complements and isn't competing, and so that does end up being a focus on UK content usually, and I think that's really where the core of the appeal of those shows is. They're broad, they're usually comedic, There's some soft learning in it. We're not curriculum-based, but there's education, and education is something that we're doing more of. But I think it's that comedy and that imagination and quality of production. But yeah, their lives represented on screen, and recognising an authentic lives on that. And then the imagination from it, which is the joy for all of us, I think, in kids' content, that it can just go anywhere, you know. So yeah.
Especially with preschoolers who have just the most bonkers imagination.
And animation as well, you know, particularly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kate, what about for CBeebies?
Yeah, I mean, as I talked probably at far too much length about the diversity of content that we have, you know, from the zany humour of Hey Duggee, you know, who could not love Hey Duggee, to Jojo and Gran Gran, where, you know, really pushing the representation of family and actually having that warmth flood through the screen is just absolutely wonderful. But also showing, you know, really important stories. You know, if we look at BBC Children's as a whole, you know, the work that has been done with Newsround, I think is absolutely tremendous in terms of, you know, the world is quite a scary place. And the BBC is really, really committed to telling stories and explaining things in a way that is absolutely appropriate for our audience. And I think, you know, being part of CBeebies as part of BBC Children's and Education, it's very important that we are that safe place to start, but we also can hand over to CBBC and iPlayer and actually, you know, have children continue that quality journey. So we've got the wealth of comedy and factual and, you know, entertainment with learning, but it's also about the fun and the family moments.
Is it still, because obviously we know the news that CBBC will be going sort of entirely online, is it, CBeebies, it still feels very important that it's linear? Do preschoolers watch television in a different way, do you think?
There is, absolutely, there's a stronger linear viewing habit for preschoolers, and we're absolutely committed to being where our audience is. I think that's the important thing about the message overall. And that's why there's no change at all in the amount of content. It's actually about saying we want to make certain that we are reflecting our audience and that we've got that diversity of content, whether it be animation, live action, factual, music, performance, all the rest of it. And that's for CBeebies and also CBBC. And that's where the iPlayer is so important that it does, you know, we all know if you've got a small one, you're not necessarily always going to be watching between the hours where it's on the linear channel. So it's important that everyone has the chance to self-curate.
Yep, yeah, incredibly important. Incredibly important. There's something at 3 a.m. to get you through. Matt, what would you say the content that kind of defines Wildbrain Spark right now is?
So, because the way our network's structured, I don't think we have brands that necessarily define the network. You don't necessarily, because you watch one of the channels on the network, you'll watch another channel on the network. It's just not how the platform works. Our channels are based around brands. And so we're quite diverse in terms of the content we represent. And again, we go from preschool right through to teen content. If I was to say one brand that probably represents what is special about we do as Spark, I'd probably pick Caillou, which is a, you know, not particularly well-known brand in the UK, but just a global phenomenon. I mean, I think in the 76 billion minutes of Caillou have been viewed on our network. I mean, it's just staggering, the numbers. We started redeveloping it. It was in a very old French-Canadian show. We started redeveloping it with 21st century kids in mind. And in fact, our showrunner is in the audience today, who did a lot of that work. And the unique thing about what we do on our network is we can see exactly what's happening. So I can see when the audience are dropping off, when they're picking up, when they're going back and looking at content. So we can feed that back into the production cycle. So we typically work with very short, this is when we do production ourselves, or working with partners, we'll work on a very short production cycle. So, you know, typically by about the 15th episode, if we release weekly, we can get the data from the first episode fed back into the production and build that in. So I know what's working, I know what's not working. So we have this constantly always on iterative development process, which, you know, takes a while to go through. I think it was probably the 3rd season of Caillou that before we really found our feet. We're now on the 5th season. But it's just fascinating that we can take that data, we can see exactly what the audience are doing and feed that back in, because, you know, great, I can sit here and say, that's a great idea. I'm not a kid, so I don't know. And so actually what I'd rather do is get it live on the platform, see what the kids think, see what they do, and then feed that back in and improve it and iterate it from there.
So you're able to actually change it sort of in kind of as the season's going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to keep the production cycle short so you can get that data back in and feed in the secrets. So because we have a distribution team that manage the channels on the platform and a production team who produce it or work with third parties to produce the content, that synergy between the two so they can see that insight of what's happening on the platform and fed back into the production is absolutely key.
And Louise, what content would you say sort of defines Paramount right now and why?
Well, Paramount, every show that begins with P, Peppa Pig, Paddington, Pip and Posy, Paw Patrol. We need to find another letter. I think for Nick Jr., sort of Paw Patrol, obviously, you know, it's hugely exciting and it's energetic. Paddington as well. It's just the most amazing storytelling and it focuses on the family and friendships. For Milkshake, some of our live action content has been hugely successful. A show like Meet the Experts where we represent and show kids and their passions and it comes from them. It's just a joy to watch, to something like World According to Grandpa, which is storytelling, but it's representing that intergenerational family dynamic of a grandparent with their child, but it's mixed with amazing animation, and then at the end you get the fact as well. But certainly this sort of big franchises work for us, but when you focus down to celebrate and really follow the play patterns of kids and try to tap into what makes them excited, that's really the best content that we see on our platforms at the moment.
Okay, we've got one very important question. If there is time, probably won't be time, but if there's time, then we'll take some questions from the audience too, if you've got the Slido app, but we'll see how this goes. Very important question, and we'll start with you, Estelle, because you did mention during your brief at the top sort of what you are looking for. But if you could sort of tell us a little bit more about those 3 things that you're really looking forward to commission in the future in the spaces that you have, and how that producers can pitch to you. I believe you mentioned the email earlier.
Yeah, so there were the 3 things. There's a physical fitness or movement show, natural history, wildlife, animals, both. I think would be really interesting to find a new format. We have got a show in development where we're really looking at how to film and produce immersive content for kids as well, and I think that's perhaps something to consider out for both of those. And probably beginning with P, an action-adventure animated show. So yeah, it's through the Sky Kids at sky.uk. It doesn't need a lot of content to start with, you know, a couple of pages. Some visuals are really helpful, and if there aren't visuals, sometimes a mood board is particularly good. But I think initially it's about, yeah, we think this could fit, and or no, we've got something similar. So I mean, I wouldn't spend a huge amount of time on creating new materials at that first stage, but yeah.
As yeah, we've learned today that there is a commissioning war simply of shows that start with P, so start programming accordingly. Matt, what about you? What are you looking for, and how do people pitch to you?
Quite simple, email me, matt.rennie@wildbrain.com, hit me up on LinkedIn, let's have a chat, come and say hi after this session. Again, we don't have slots. What are we interested in? I mean, anything that's good, really. Obviously, I'd say the 2 things probably in our mind, live action has been lower. We got hit through the pandemic with live action shoots, so we're being quite heavily animation skewed. And the other area we're interested in is gaming. And it may be, not too much towards the preschool, maybe kind of that area between preschool and bridge, but I don't know if you probably have many of you have the same experience. My kids watch a lot of gaming content on YouTube. They're teenagers, so I'm kind of okay with it, but I know a lot of younger kids watch the same content on YouTube. It's not really safe for kids. And I think we've got an interesting opportunity to go in and try and come up with a genre that is clearly massive and of huge interest, but delivered in a way that, again, has those broadcast sensibilities of enriching your kids and inspiring them.
Kate, same to you. What's CBeebies looking for?
Well, The best place to go to pitch to us and also to see what we're looking for as well is our BBC commissioning website. And obviously, for everyone in the UK, you can see that quite easily. We have, not just for CBeebies, but also CBBC, the current genres that we're looking for. In terms of CBeebies, the things that I'm really excited about at the moment is I'd love to get more ideas for magazine shows, particularly for the younger end, 0 to 3. I think, you know, it's been a while since we've had a new and fresh format on that, and I'd love to have some more of those. So that would be great to have. We've got some beautiful things, but, you know, I want more. In terms of comedy animation, I think shows reflecting real family stories. And also preschool comedy live action sitcoms. I really want to do more of those. I think that would be super. But yes, please go to the commissioning website. We've also got links to our dedicated commissioning email address, but also there's my email address on there as well. But by all means, come and have a chat. Fantastic, thanks.
And Sean, what about you? What are you looking for? How do people pitch? Obviously, the first test is that email. And once they've remembered that...
You email successfully, it's greenlit. So Cartonito's a brand that's growing globally. And to be honest, I don't think we should be too prescriptive as to what you pitch to us, because a lot of the time, you know, you don't know a good idea until you see it. So if you think 2 to 5-year-olds would love it, we would love to see it. I think the important thing is to come to us with a plan. I mean, we co-produce and acquire a lot of our content. So I think if you come to us with a plan, not just editorially of how, you know, a season would unfold, character bios, scripts, storylines beyond the first season, but financially as well, I think it's good for you to understand what you need from us to get a show to green light. We can work with our internal partners, our teams in the US, Asia Pacific or Latin America. Collectively, we can fully fund a show, or often we work with free-to-air partners across Europe as well. So it's good for you as a distributor or as a studio to understand what you need from us. As well as the email address, my team are at all markets. They're here today. So you can reach out to any of us directly on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, we'd love to meet you in person.
Great. And Louise?
We want shows where your kids are going to draw pictures of the characters and the stories. That's when you know you've got a successful show. For Nick Jr., we're looking for sort of character-driven storytelling where it could have franchise potential. It's based on a book. We're running a shorts program at the moment, so go and check that out on our website at the moment. For Milkshake, we're looking at slots for 24. Particularly interested in live action, so factual, whether that's about STEM, interested in slapstick and comedy formats, messy play patterns. Also co-productions, we have to be very, very agile with financing and budgets. So we're open to sort of discussing those as well. And also like to mention, obviously we saw it yesterday about Sunflower TV. It's something that we're all involved in across industry, an amazing YouTube channel in Ukrainian language for kids across Europe. If you've got 6 to 12 content that you can offer, particularly please get in touch about that.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And I'm afraid we don't have any time for questions, as you probably guessed. So firstly, can we please give a big, big round of applause to all of our panellists. And also, I'd like to thank again our sponsors, Carrot, for sponsoring this session. A quick reminder, there are 8 additional Commissioner Conversations on video that you can find on the CMC On Demand site. The latest are from International Kids Commissioners. If you could all make your way out of the auditorium, obviously you don't want to sit here forever, you'll find lunch bags, sponsored by lovely Cloth Cat, waiting for you in the foyer. Please save me at least 3. The Crucible corner is directly opposite, as open for extra seating. And for those of you who managed to bag yourself a speed meeting, don't forget they're on Zoom, so find somewhere quiet to go and do those. And the next session will be the Creative Masterclass here at 12:30 p.m. Thank you very much.